The school budget proposed in early February by Superintendent Joshua Starr would significantly cut the spending on special education programs. At the same time, the state legislature proposed a bill that would make it a criminal offense for someone to misrepresent themselves as a board-certified behavioral analyst.
Because again, we saw what happened with Stacey Laurie. Not only the damage that she did, but you think of what it did for kids and the lost time. You can't make up that time. And for them to be able to have the peace of mind going forward, I think will help. I mean, is this going to solve all the problems of the world? No. But I think this is a step in the right direction, and it closes a loophole that had previously been out there.
Monday's announcement at Stepping Stones Museum in Norwalk gave voice to the issue. This past fall, Stacey Laurie was sentenced to 3 years in prison for doing just that. She presented herself as board certified and worked with children with autism throughout Fairfield County, when in fact she had no qualifications.
People are just absolutely shocked that something like this could happen, that a child with needs could be subjected to a criminal. And in my home and in our schools, it's really horrifying to think that this could have happened and really damaged many, many, many children. Well, the budget cuts are concerning because people are looking to cut back programs. The problem with autism is that if you don't front load, if you don't proactively seek and really give appropriate therapy, intensive therapy, then our children become a burden for years and years to come through adulthood. So they have to spend the money and the time effectively with professionals at a young age in the critical window. And then later on, our children can function and be taxpayers in our society.
Unfortunately, it was apparent that she just didn't seem to match the resume and the skills that she claimed to have. You know, my son seemed to be flailing under her. He wasn't really progressing. She wasn't updating his program books. Things just really weren't going well. And so another parent and I decided to look into her credentials, and we discovered that she had fabricated her entire resume and claimed to be a PhD, and in reality was a GED.
There are several parents out there whom have been through coming across and who are not able to talk English fluently, because of which they're not able to fight for their children. And I've been seeing many people around. And this time it has happened to us, all three of us were able to talk and fight for our children. But there are so many out there whose plates are full with taking care of the children and cannot fight for the children, as everything else depends on English. And this passing this is very important because there are several cases out there. There are several. And when they are caught is when we get to see outside. But passing this bill is so important that all other children who, it doesn't matter what the parents are about, but all the children are born here and they all need a fairness. And passing this bill will protect them from many safety stories around there.
And Suzanne Letzo, a parent of an autistic child, as well as a board-certified behavioral analyst, explains what Laurie did truly harms these children.
In terms of the outcomes for kids, as one of the parents said, bad intervention can be far worse than no intervention, because our children are prone to very idiosyncratic learning, and our children with autism are prone to idiosyncratic learning, and when they learn something and practice it a lot, they get better at what they practice, like we all do. So if they're practicing maladaptive behavior, it may take us far longer to undo the damage that was done than it did to cause it in the first place.
So what happens to the special education programs if the board adopts Starr's budget cuts at the same time this legislation is enacted?
Well, I think this is actually going to make things a lot easier because it's going to take some of the onus off the department, but it's also going to make sure that when people are hired, that they're hired and they have those credentials right out there, and that they don't have to do as much investigation as they might have done, because the information will be there, it can be verifiable, and it creates clear, concise regulations and a law of how to present yourself. And if you don't present yourself in the right way, the long arm of the law is going to get you, and more severely than it did in the past.
The Board of Representatives will continue to meet in the coming months to discuss the proposals before adopting a final budget. For more information on this bill, please visit the Connecticut government website, www.cga.ct.gov, and search Senate Bill 00799, or type this tiny URL into your browser.